Welcome back. Dedicating the show today to my dear friend in Chicago, John Ranty, who's given me so much in my life. You know, when you have a friend that cares about everything, it's just, you know, it gives you peace of mind. It gives you peace of mind that somebody else cares about you, that somebody else values your life. And so this next segment, you know, I'm a business coach, KHTS.com. So I'm going to do a little coaching on the air. I don't do it often enough. I'm asked all the time, how come you don't do more coaching on the air? And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like a sense I'm plugging myself. I'm not really trying to plug myself. I have plenty of business, plenty of clients. So, you know, this segment on KHTS 1220 AM here in Southern California. Also, you can download the app if you're at home and you're pulling in the garage. Just go to the App Store and put in KHTS 1220 AM, and the app will pop up. So managing the good, bad, and the ugly. The first segment was why do people struggle, and we got into young people because I love young people. It's the future of our country. If older dudes like me don't reach out to young people, then what are we doing? We're just a bunch of hypocrites, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. Justin's a young, good-looking guy. Like I said, if and the young people don't listen, Justin, to our show, but if you're a grandmother or grandfather, they should, but they don't. Well, they listen. They're on social media. And you talk about a station that has great social media. We have great social media. Every night we send out a newsletter, so you don't even need the newspaper anymore. You can watch our newsletter every night. You get it about 5 o'clock, 5:15. All right, so I said before I get my segment, I had a birthday party the other day, and my wife put my picture on the M&Ms.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I just love M&Ms. So Mars Candy makes M&Ms. So do you know how M&Ms got started? So the United States government during World War II wanted to send chocolate to our troops. So, you know, if you just send chocolate without some kind of a hard cover, it's going to melt. So that's how M&Ms came about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Mars created the M&Ms so that they could ship them. It was all about shipping them and with that hard outer surface. Anyway, that's where it came from. So, all right. So what do I want to say? I want to say that everybody has to deal with stress, but young people really have to deal with a lot of stress, trying to make ends meet. You know, if you're 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, you know, maybe you've moved out of the house, you're renting an apartment with 2 or 3 other people, you're making basically minimum wage and a little bit more. Man, it's tough. Think about just the cost of gas. Think about just the cost of filling up a gas tank, you know, $30, $40, $50, $60. Food is expensive. Living in Southern California is expensive. So I would say to all young people, get out. I mean, I've told my own kids, only my son listened. He moved to Oregon where the cost of living is 50% less. I mean, I go up there to buy my clothes. I get it. These big manufacturers and retailers, they base their prices on the economic circumstances of the community. So clothing and food in Grants Pass, Oregon is much less expensive. The same Walmart has different prices in Grants Pass, Oregon than the Walmart here in Santa Clarita. I used to grow up in Thousand Oaks. We had a Costco store in Oxnard and a Costco store in Westlake Village. You would think the prices and the merchandise would be the same. It's not.
More in Westlake?
The prices were more expensive in Westlake. They had higher end products, and they had lower end products and less expensive goods in Oxnard. So that's how the world works. But getting back to young people, getting back to managing the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if you have a divorce rate in Southern California that is over 50%, and kids aren't being raised because their parents are so preoccupied with fighting each other over their divorces, kids are being raised by social media. They're being raised by YouTube. And the educational system is broken. I'm sorry. My son's a teacher. We talk about it all the time. You know, there's always that special teacher, but there's always that one. It's not every teacher in every class is special. You may have one special teacher in the 9th grade or the 10th grade, and that one special teacher touches you, touches your heart, touches your mind. But they're not touching everybody. I don't get that the stupid administrators can't figure this out. They want to know why we have such problems. It's because you, the administrators, are stuck. We need new curriculum. We need to help kids learn how to adjust to today's society, to today's divorce rate. And so the administrators are going to say, well, it's not our job to be parents. Well, I don't know. I can make an argument both ways. Your kids, our kids, are coming to your schools, and they're not doing well. They're not graduating. So whose job is that? If it's not your job to parent, okay, how come they're not graduating? How come they're not getting employed? How come they're not graduating from college? Wake up, administrators. And the apathy of the parents. Come on, parents. Now, nobody under 45 is listening to my voice, but grandparents are listening to my voice. Older kids are listening to my voice, older kids being over 45. We had a different world growing up in the 60s, 70s, somewhat early 80s. There was accountability there. What happened to discipline? What happened to accountability? Parents want to be friends. They don't want to be parents. God forbid they should have some kind of a penalty for not doing your homework or a penalty for being a jerk. There's got to be accountability. You know why? Because there's real penalties in the real world. You don't stop at a stop sign, you run a red light, you could kill somebody. So a lot of these kids, look at just in the last month or so, the horrific accidents, young people killing themselves, speeding, racing, drugs, alcohol. What happened to our society? What happened to the parents? They're not there anymore. Yes, I'm generalizing. I know I'm generalizing. There are some great parents out there, far and few between. You know, I'm generalizing, but I think kids that get into athletics, get into after-school activities, they're distracted by positive things. They're distracted and they're kept busy in band or the chess club. The coach was in the chess club. I was also in the band. I was also a damn good athlete. And I was a foster kid. I got lucky because I was a good athlete, and my coaches took me under their wing. And I learned discipline early. I learned to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am early. My music teachers were very critical and talked about accountability and discipline. And our classes were smaller back in those days. We had, maybe 25 kids in a class, not 40 kids. And we had a whole different approach to teaching. Today, I've talked to so many teachers that tell me they're babysitting. They just can't teach anymore. That's sad, and you wonder why our kids are turning out the way they are. You wonder why we have a 50% unemployment rate in minority communities. Why kids graduating with master's degrees are working at restaurants for minimum wage. What's happened? Well, what's happened is an apathy in our community. And I'm going to, really, after my little rant, I'm going to try to do something about it right here in Southern California. I'm going to try to put maybe a group of 20, 25 kids together that need mentoring. Why can't we get more people like myself who are successful to give back? Maybe one round less of golf, maybe one vacation less. Isn't it up to people who have done a little better in life, who have the time to give back to the educational system? Maybe by giving back, we could help change the curriculum a little bit. I don't think kids are getting real life experiences in their educational world. Now, again, I'm generalizing. And I'm purposely generalizing because there are those special educational programs. There are those special teachers. There are those special administrators that care by the minute. I get it. But we don't have enough of them. Part of the problem is that teachers have tenure. You can't fire a bad teacher. So think about how many students do not get a great learning experience because the teacher's horrible. And the parents aren't there to do anything about it because there's tremendous apathy. When I was a kid, the PTA, the rooms were packed. I don't think they're packed anymore. All right, so that's my little rant. All right, so let me change subjects a little bit. And we're listening to Coach Tunic, that's me, Coach Ron Tunic, talking about life, because the show is called The Business of Life. And I'm here on KHTS. I'm blessed to be here in Southern California, 12:20 a.m. Don't forget, we have a great app. Go to the App Store. You can listen to the coach on podcast. KHTS has a great podcast program, and podcast is growing dramatically. I mean, now the statistics say 1 in 4 people are getting educated on podcasts, or getting their information from podcasts. 1 in 4. That's a great sign, and KHTS is leading the parade on podcasts in Southern California. Even these great old radio stations don't get it. The owners at KHTS, they get it. The Goldmans, they get it. Carl and Jerry, they get it. And you can listen to all the shows. Pick out your favorite show. Hopefully, I'm trying to become one of your favorite shows, and listen to the podcast anytime, day or night. That's what podcasts are all about. All right, so let me switch gears a little bit. In my business coaching, I'm coaching, for the most part, businesses that are mature. They've been in business for, 7, 10, 15, 20 years. They get stuck. The owners get stuck. Entrepreneurs are an interesting breed. I'm an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are mavericks. They're loners. They're creative people. They're innovative people. Most entrepreneurs, they don't want to settle. They don't want to be like everybody else. That's why they chose to open up their own business. A lot of entrepreneurs like me, I didn't open up my own business to make money. I wanted to have freedom, independence. I wanted to come and go and do as I please. I did not want to have a boss. Even in the 3rd grade, I thought I was smarter than the teacher. I always thought I was smarter than everybody, until I opened up my own business and I realized that I needed help. But what happens, whether you own your own business or whether you're working for somebody, today, in today's world, we have to deal with stress. And if you don't understand that stress can be a positive thing, we all have stress. We couldn't live without stress. We couldn't function without stress. But what causes all the bad things is when stress turns into distress. When the fog of life, I call it the fog of life, or some people say it's the fog of war, the fog of life. We're so stressed out, now we're in distress, we can't think properly. Just on the first segment when Megan Toll, my guest, talked about when you have such negative feelings, such hatred, when you're beating yourself up, that creativity isn't there. So the first thing, if you want to understand how to manage your stress and get rid of the distress and understand that stress is okay, then we have to manage the process. You have to understand the process. And waking up every day, the first thought should be one of gratitude, and the last thought of the day should be gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, you want to thank your God, your universe, for the ability to open your eyes. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not lying in a hospital bed, if you're not disabled, if you're not suffering from some horrible disease, and you're actually fit and healthy, and you're just suffering from mental anguish, start your day with gratitude. Look, when you start your day with gratitude, it's almost impossible to be angry. It's almost impossible to be upset or frustrated. Same thing when you go to bed at night. The last thing should be thank you to your God, your universe. I don't care if you're thanking your cactus plant. Be thankful that you're here on earth, because you're only here for a short period of time. And as I've said many times, you have such greatness inside of you, and you have so many gifts to share with people. We need you. We need you to share your gifts. We need you to be more, do more, and give more. And if you start your day with gratitude and end your day with gratitude, you can do more, be more, and give more. All right, I'm going to come back and give you 10 quick tips on how to manage and deal with the stress in your life so it doesn't cause you to start doing deviant things like alcohol or drugs or something else. Come on back. The show is called The Business of Life. I am so honored that you would take your time to listen to us on KHTS AM 1220, one of the great radio stations in the United States of America. We'll be right back. So am I. Welcome back. I love country music. I love Southern California, and I love KHTS 1220 AM. That's what you're listening to. The show is called The Business Life. I'm the coach, Coach Tunic.com. So I was talking about stress. I was talking about a lot of things in the last segment. Hope you enjoyed it. So, 10 ways, 10 quick little tips. So write down the 3 things you feel grateful for. Write them down. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I'm married to one of the great ladies in the history of wifehood, Ron Tunic. I'm grateful that I have this incredible family. I'm grateful for so much. So write down what you're grateful for. Breathing. I learned how to breathe about 20 years ago. You'd be amazed at how breathing is so critical to reducing your stress. Taking deep breaths once in a while. Letting it all out. Learning how to teach yourself to relax. It's so important because you can lower your heart rate. Justin, go. Talk.
Well, breathing really does change things.
And you're an athlete. You know. I mean, sometimes you're a great soccer player. If your breathing gets ahead of you, you can't even perform as an athlete.
You have to be able to calm it down and regain a level of focusness that will in turn relax you.
So true. You literally can get your breathing to a point where you lower your pulse and your heart rate, and that's when all the great ideas and innovative thoughts will come into your mind when you're at peace. And you can learn how to be at peace with yourself just by learning how to breathe differently. How about listening to classical music? I love classical music. I love cowboy music. I love country music. I love music. And sometimes music can be very inspiring. Literally, it can change the moment. Justin knows that. I know that. I mean, sometimes if I need a mood change, I'll put on some Eagles, man. And I'm telling you, 10 minutes later, I'm singing, I'm happy. Do you ever do that, Justin? Do you ever put on music to change your mood?
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. How about watching your blood sugar? Look, you don't have to have diabetes to watch your blood sugar. Blood sugar creates mood swings. Did you know that? So stay away from sugar. But if you lower your blood sugar late in the afternoon, you've had lunch, now it's about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and you see your energy being sapped, it's your blood sugar, ladies and gentlemen. Your blood sugar needs a little snack. A little protein snack. Think about that. Why do you feel a little tired in the afternoon? Because your blood sugar is down. How about getting up? I don't care if you're listening to my show in your office or at home. You got to move. You got to walk. Sometimes just go out and walk in your neighborhoods. Your neighborhood is maybe one of the safest places in the city. You got to move. You got to move. Sometimes I'll get up and I'll start doing push-ups, Justin. I'll start doing deep knee bends. I've got a pretty big backyard, so I kind of walk around my backyard. But move, man, that is so important to relieving stress because it also changes your thinking patterns. Now you're focused on the deep knee bends and not all the crap that's going on in your life. I'm telling you, exercise is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. Trust me, it is. Because when you start exercising, a chemical imbalance takes over and these endorphins get released. I mean, people talk about it all the time. Try it. Try letting a little endorphin out. It wants to get out. How about sending a positive email today to somebody you care about? How about a little personal note? How about going out of the way to thank somebody or make somebody's day? A little personal note, a little personal email. Pick up the phone. Sometimes just pick up the phone. Mary, I miss you. Just touching somebody's heart will touch your heart. Just touching somebody else will change that stress level.
I started writing thank you notes last year.
Wonderful. Is a young man doing that?
Changed me. I felt better that I was recognizing people that treat me well.
And do you know that thank you note, I promise you, will sit on somebody's desk for 5 days. People do not throw away thank you notes. Okay, I say this all the time. You've got to pay attention and be objective about the TV programs that you watch, the news that you watch, anybody that's preaching the gospel, including me. Be objective. Some of the things I say make sense. Maybe some of the things I don't say sense. Sometimes I tend to generalize like I did in the last segment. So try to be more objective when you're watching TV or listening to the radio. You own your own mind. You own your own brain. Nobody owns you. You own yourself. Next little tip is be careful who you hang around with. I mean, really, I don't care if you have one good friend in the world. That's all you need. So be careful who you're making social connections with. Be very careful. There's a lot of jerky people out there that will absorb your energy, that will rob you of everything, including your mind, your heart, your soul. They're hurting, so they're going to hurt you. You got to sleep. That's number 9. You got to sleep. You got to get at least 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. I'm telling you, when you sleep, you give your body a gift. And you need to give your body a gift. This is how your body repairs itself. This is how your body rejuvenates itself. This is how your body gets the energy it needs to work at its peak performance. All right, and the last thing, and then I'm going to go. You're listening to Coach Tunic, CoachTunic.com. I'm a business coach. I'm here on KHTS every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The last thing is pay attention to technology. Is it ruining your life? Is it taking up too much time? Are you absorbed? And are you hooked? Because if you're hooked, you're in trouble. You got to call a timeout on technology. All right, I'll see you down the road. The show is called The Business of Life, and I'm so honored that you would listen on KHTS 1220 AM.